Hey there guys, welcome back to ARTFX Studios, and today we're going to be working on a track. I'm working on a new Neurofunk track, and I just want to make some music today, so I thought, why not record it? I've got this thing right going here. I've got an intro that sounds pretty good already, and I've got a start of a drop that sounds okay. I kind of need to fill up this build-up section right here, and then we got to work on the drop. But I think I'm gonna just try and make that transition right now. So yeah, I'm just gonna play it first. I'll play you the intro first, and then I'll play you what I have for the drop. So there we go in 3, 2, 1. So that's sounding pretty good already. I really like the kind of like the Middle Eastern vibe it has. I put a little bit of an Arabic vocal in here, which is this one. You know, it's processed with a reverb, and I just took a I took kind of like a Middle Eastern singing thing that I really liked the tone of. I found out what key it was, and I just chopped it up and rearranged a couple of bits that I liked. Then I reversed that entire thing. I put a delay on it, and then I reversed it back, so that you kind of have that delay that comes in. So the delay builds up, and then you hear the actual loudest part. Then I'm just running that through Valhalla Room with just a really, really long reverb preset to really give it that ambient kind of sound. Next up in the intro is a little stab sound. That's just that kind of thing. It's made in Serum, by the way. I can show you. Just a kind of like a stabby sound. It's mostly just these two waveforms with the filter on it that's closing down, and there's some volume. The volume envelope closes down as well, so that gives it that stabby kind of sound. Now there's also reverb on this. Again, a Valhalla vintage verb this time, and I'm using the comb filter to kind of change the tone. It's turned off right now, but okay, I turned it off because it made the sound less pronounced, less heavy. So I'm not too sure about this stab sound yet. As you can see, I've already done quite a bit of processing to it, and that is because it doesn't really sound the way I want right now. I think I want to change it up a little bit, or you know, I might just have to put a different layer in here. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it, but it's good for now. Then I've got a layer that I called Wind. Now it's just really low in the mix, but it actually adds some ambience to the intro. I might add some reverb to that later on, but I'm not too sure. Then I've got a low pad. Now this is the main pad in the intro. I'm doing a little bit of automation on it, which I should copy, by the way. So that sounds good. Then on top of that is another layer, which is this one. And these pads are basically all made with Omnisphere. So you can see these two pads together. And then with that wind layer. It really creates this nice atmospheric bed in the intro that just sits there in the background, and it kind of like really sets the mood for the track, and the Arabic vocal really works perfectly well with it. Now, I also wanted to add a little bit more of an Arabic sound to it, so I took a duduk instrument, which is kind of like an Arabic wind instrument, I think. And again, I just took one from Contact that I found that I had, and I just made a couple of notes and bounced it to audio, and then I just chopped those up and rearranged them again. Again, also put on a long reverb, so that adds that little bit. Just adds a nice sound to the intro. I might want to do the same here, just fade it out a little bit slower. Yeah, that's better. So those all together really create pretty much the atmospheric part of the intro. The other part of the intro is this impact sound. That's right at the start. Nothing too crazy, just it's just there to kind of like give the start of the track a little bit of impact, a little bit of a, well, basically just a sound that tells you the track is starting. Then I also have two layers in here. One is actually, well, high passed, really high up. Well, it's actually a band pass, but it just sits there right at the top of the frequency range. And if I turn it off, you can hear what this layer sounds like. I think I'm gonna use this during the drop as well. I've already used it right here, but it's basically a thing I made. I just chopped up a loop. I think it's a longer loop. Yeah. So let me show you the actual loop. So this is the actual loop that I used, and I'm not too sure where it comes from, but I just took it and I ran it through some bit crushing and some other processing. You can see the bit crusher right here. It's Decimort. I really like Decimort, by the way. It's a really good bit crusher. And done some EQing, done some limiting to really bring everything up so that it sits pretty much at the same volume. And then I just added that auto filter, which kind of like removes everything except the super high frequencies. But this is actually just sitting there during the intro to kind of like give it a little bit of a drum percussion kind of sound, but it's not really there. It's not in your face. You can't really recognize it as percussion, I would say. So that's just that full loop, but I completely chopped it up and I rearranged it into what sounds like this. And I think I'm actually going to introduce the full-on sound of this loop the way it is right now during the build-up of the track. But during the intro I kind of like wanted it to sit there as well, but just a high frequency, so that's pretty much everything you hear during the intro. Now there's another loop right here, which is this one, and that's also being affected. You can hear again I'm adding a bit of processing. So it's just a tom loop that I kind of processed, and I took out all the low end, added the bit crusher, and then I'm adding a filter. And this filter just gradually brings in that tom loop. So this kind of like adds to the percussive sound of the intro. So, damn, somebody with a race car outside. But it sounds a little bit like this. So that's pretty much everything it's doing. It's not really that much. But that adds a really good, interesting thing to the intro. I mean, just take it out and still sounds good, but I don't know. I like this. See, it sounds good, but it lacks a little bit of something, I guess, a little bit of rhythm. And that just adds that rhythm. So, then for the drop, I've got a little thing going right here, and I can play you it. It might be a little bit loud, so I'm gonna play you this in 3, 2, 1. So, what am I doing right here? It's not that complicated at all. I've got a kick drum that is sounding pretty good and a snare drum that's sounding pretty good, but they definitely need a little bit of work. There's really little low end in the kick drum. The kick drum is mostly sitting around 150 Hertz, which is kind of like the strongest area in this kick. I might have to add a little bit of low end to that kick drum later on, but for now it sounds good. It's actually gonna make it easier to mix in with the bass because there's not really that much sub in the kick. Then the snare drum, it's just a really high-pitched kind of snare, which I like. And then I have this break. Now this break is actually really crazy because you can see I've just chopped it up completely. And if I bring up the fades, you're really going to be able to see what I've done. So what I'm doing here is I basically started this track off with the drums. So I started making a break, and I kind of like wanted to create something out of a break that I sampled. So what I did is I actually sampled about 4 or 5 different breaks from funk records, and I chopped them up, rearranged them into a pattern that I liked. I also processed them individually. Some were low pass, some were high pass, some had a little bit of distortion or saturation on them, and in the end I had a loop that sounded pretty good. Now I can again show you the loop that I had if I just do that. So this is the loop I had. Now you can hear there's also a little bit of a vocal in there, which I liked, and it sounds really distorted. Now, if we compare it with what I have right now, the vocal is a little bit less in your face. It sounds not, well, it's not really there anymore, but that's mostly because of the fades, but still adding a little bit to the whole drum groove. And what I did here is, because I kind of like layered 5 breaks on top of each other, the loop I created sounded really dirty, really a little bit messy maybe even. So what I did is I just chopped every single hit of the break up into a separate clip, and then I just went in and added these volume fades, so that I can really kind of like control how long each single one is. So and I can do the same here. For instance, I can say I want to make these really short and snappy. I can do that. And I actually think I'm gonna do that because it sounds pretty interesting if I do it that way. Which means I'm gonna have to go through this entire thing and do that, which I might do, but I think for now we're pretty good already to just leave that for later. You can see that might actually take quite a while, so I'll do that later. I actually think I want to, you know, do something with this break. I need something more in this drum loop, but it sounds good right now. In here there's also a little bit of that original clip that I had during the intro, and that's this part. And I think I should turn this one off as soon as the drop hits, so I'm just gonna do that. So we get that, and during the end we get this, which is a part of that break, but it really adds to the drum groove because it just really makes it sound a bit more interesting. And this is part of the tom loop. Now for the bass. The main bass is actually really simple. I made it in FM8. Sorry. I bounced down to audio though because I wanted to save some CPU, but and I just like working in audio basically, but this bass is made in FM8 and it's actually really simple. It's a sine wave modulated by another sine wave that's that has a ratio that's double the ratio of the original fundamental sine wave. So let's say the main sine wave has a ratio of 1 or 2, let's say 1 to keep it easy, and then the modulating sine wave, which is modulating the other one, is gonna have a ratio of 2, so it's double the ratio of the other one. And then you just feed that into the first sine wave until it kind of like creates some overtones that sounds really good. You don't want to bring it up too much, you just want to give it some overtones in the low mids. And what it'll do is it'll create a whole bunch of additional spikes next to your main fundamental frequency. And what you then want to do is put an EQ in there and kind of like take out one of them. So I can show you if I just put it on here. I mean, I already took out that fundamental, but I guess we can still see it. So we can see it right now. This is the main fundamental frequency right here, and there's a second one right here, and this used to be, well, probably about here in terms of volume, and that's what the FM, the frequency modulation is doing. It's actually creating these sidebands, so it's creating this one and that one and that one, and all these other ones are being created because we're feeding other operators into that main fundamental operator. So this one will naturally become quite loud if you do it, and if you go up to a certain amount, it'll actually become louder than the fundamental frequency. So that's actually what happened with this one. And then I just put in an EQ, which I think I used FabFilter Pro Q, and just completely took out that second harmonic, or actually I think it's the first harmonic, because the other one is the fundamental frequency. So this is the first harmonic, and this would be the second harmonic. Now I brought down that first harmonic that is being created, and that actually separates the sub bass from the mid range, and it creates a little bit of room for the kick drum as well. This is really gonna make a lot of difference, because if I would have distorted this without doing this, that first harmonic, that harmonic is being created, that's actually the loudest peak in the sound, is gonna trigger the distortion. That is what's gonna trigger the distortion, because that is the loudest part of the sound. And thus the distortion is really gonna sound muddy in the low end, I guess, or in the low mids maybe even. And when you take out that harmonic and then distort it, it's actually the distortion is now going to respond to the main fundamental frequency, because that is now the loudest part of this sound. So doing that, you can kind of like affect how the distortion is going to react. And this way, it's going to sound heavier because you're taking out certain parts of the sound that you don't need. So that's what I did here. And I think, actually, if we do it another time now, so you can see if we now notch out that second harmonic, which is this one, it actually starts to sound pretty good as well. So you really have to listen carefully. I think just a little bit is enough for this one. And then right here you can see we have another peak. Let's see what happens if we notch that out. See, that completely changes the sound of the bass. So that is actually the kind of like the overtone that I like in this bass that you hear. But I might want to make it a little bit less pronounced. So you can hear, it sounds good, but there is something else going on this bass. As you can see, I have another track right here, and this one is called Bass Distortion. If I turn this off, you can hear how the bass sound. And this right here is just something I made with Serum and Operator. I don't know, it sounds cool. Just having that on the fill part right here on the end of each phrase. But if I play this with the drums, it sounds good, but the bass is lacking something, and it's lacking high end. It's lacking energy in the high frequencies. But the rest of the bass actually sounds pretty solid, so I don't really want to change that. So if I now start, you know, maybe adding isotope trash to this and trying to work with it in the multiband mode, trying to make the high end more crispy, I might completely screw up this bass, and that's not what I want. I actually like the sound of it right now. I just want to add something to it. So I created a return track, and on this return track I've took Decimort again, which is a bit crushing plugin, and I chosen the preset Salted Input. Now what that preset is gonna do, it's really gonna squash the sound completely. It's gonna completely crush it. It's, well, not gonna be usable at all. But the reason I want that is because I just want it to sound completely crushed. I want something that is really crushed out, and I want to mix that in with the original bass sound. And you know, you can do it with white noise. You can add a little bit of white noise to your bass, and that's cool, that's fine. But in this instance, I already had a little bit of white noise in my main bass that I created. So instead of emphasizing that or adding more white noise, I thought, what would happen if we just completely crush this with a bit crusher or with any distortion, and then just take out the low end that we don't need and mix that back in with the original bass. And it actually sounds really good, really good. So this is without. And this is with. Suddenly it has the energy it needs. And I mean, I'll have to resample this because you can hear every time when I just stop playing, it just creates these really weird, well, squeaky kind of sounds, I would say. See? Those. And that's coming from the bit crusher. So I'm definitely gonna have to resample this and chop that out. But if I resample this now, I'm gonna have the bass with that crunchy high end. So it's just a little trick that I like to do. You can also see I just brought that down a little bit. Just sending something in this return track, you can see, for instance, this one right here. If I turn that track off, that's just there to reinforce this part of the sound. So it's just reinforcing it with that. So that's basically what it's doing. And if you look at the level of the return track, so how much the send level actually is, it's at minus 58 dB, which is like, it's so little that I think if we would turn off the distortion here, you're not even gonna hear it. See? You're practically not hearing it at all. But as soon as I turn this on, it just completely crunches it. It's, I don't know, it's cool. But I'm adding that to this bass, but also to this one. So it's really filling up the main bass loop. And you might think that this is too much, but I don't think so. You know, this drop is gonna be really heavy, and I don't think this distortion is too much. So that's it for everything I have right now. I think we should get going to trying to make this transition, work a little bit more on the intro. We need a couple of more stuff in here to kind of like make it flow a little bit better. But yeah, let's get to it. I'm gonna play this one more time. I think I'm gonna play the intro on repeat just for a little bit, and so that I can think about what I want to add, and then we're gonna get going. So there we go. Okay, so I'm hearing a couple of things that I want to do. I think we need some kind of impact sound right here, at this point right here. So I'm gonna go into the drums group, and I have this impact layer right here that sounds pretty good. This one. Let's rename these tracks right now. And let's create another audio track. So I'm gonna need some kind of an impact sound. Let's go in here. Let's see if we can find something. I guess that could work. I'm just gonna take a little bit of that. think that part might be good. Gonna pitch that way down. Add an EQ to this. And let's see. Gonna high pass this. Okay. And maybe add a little bit of delay to this. That's just gonna sit there. Let's see how it sounds right now. So it's good, but I want to do something more to it. I want to create kind of like a swooshy kind of effect layer. So I'm actually going to put this into the music group. That sounds good right there. I want to have some kind of a sound right here that reverses, so I'm gonna create a MIDI track, and let's see, I think I'm gonna do contact on this one. So opening up contact always takes a long time, so we have to wait a little bit. But what I want to do is I kind of like want to create this reversing sound, well, pretty much right here, so that reverses into here, then it drops back down, kind of like giving this part of the intro a little bit of emphasis, so it really introduces you into the next 4 bars, or next 8 bars I should say. And then I think I want to have another reverse sound coming up here, which drops you back down into this one, which will mean that I can probably reuse the reverse here again, and then it's gonna drop us into the build-up. So, you know, making this track is I haven't really worked too much on this yet, but it sounds good already. Making Neurofunk is never gonna be easy. It's a lot of hard work and a lot of playing around with things. So I'm gonna take Rise and Hit, which is a really interesting instrument that I really love, and let's try one of the presets maybe, or should I just let me just do a blank instance of Rise and Hit. Man, my nose is running. So Rise and Hit is actually a really cool thing to create tension in your tracks. So I can show you. We want to have a reverse hit right here. So I'm gonna create a reversed hit. Now I am in the key of F right now, so let me do that and let's see how that sounds. So you can see that sounds pretty cool, but it needs to be a bit longer. It needs to be 4 bars long in total, so that's 16 beats. You can actually specify the rise time right here in beats, so I can say I want to have that 16 beats. And now it does that. Obviously this is the default preset, so it's not going to sound like I want, but we can see how it sounds now. Sounding better. I think I'm actually going to make it shorter. Just going to do that. Let's make it 4 beats. It's easier. So now I can actually go in and try to find something that sounds cool. It comes with all these different ones, and let's just start with hybrid maybe. I don't know, let's just go through some of these. Ancient Will. That sounds really cool, really good actually. I like that. So now I'm gonna go into the next layer, and I want to have something with a good amount of sub. Nice impact, I guess. Let's do one of these subs. That actually sounds really great. And we can add more to it. So you can offset it, so I want to have that vocal layer coming in later. And I might want to bring that down a bit in volume. And we can play around with just checking out different ones. So let's see how it sounds now. It sounds better, but we need an impact sound that is kind of like the first one, so I might have to look for that. I'm gonna try out some other ones here. So I like the sound of this. I'm going to duplicate this one. Come on. Okay, so now I'm gonna freeze this one. And I'm gonna flatten it so that I have this as audio. Now I have the audio of it, and I can already now go in here and copy it over to here. And I'm gonna have to find another impact sound. So let's show this in the browser. Let's see if we have another one. Let's see how that sounds. Okay, so I need a really sub-heavy impact right there. Where can I find that? Damn, son, where do you find that? Let's see. I guess in here. I don't really use the vengeance stuff too much, but for some... I mean, I guess I need just something like that, but without the high frequencies, so we might be able to do that. See, that sounds pretty much what I want. So, low impact. Let's see if we can make it a bit better. That's better. So I'm just gonna freeze that, and then I'm gonna flatten it. So now I have that same sound, but with a lot of reverb. And now we're gonna create another another reversed kind of sound. Again, I'm gonna use rise and hit, so that's why I kept this one. And now I can actually just check out some of the presets, maybe. Let's reload one of these. And we need a rise time of 32 beats on this one. So 32 beats, and that's gonna sound like this. That might actually work. So let's listen to the intro now. So that one sounds pretty good. I do want to check the other ones as well though, because there might just be a better one. The only downside to it is that it doesn't really save the rise time, so every time you change the preset, you'll have to change the rise time as well. We'll see it jump back to 4. So we have to increase it again. Now, let's see how this one sounds. I'm just gonna try a few, see if I can find a better one. This one has a lot going on, I think. That could actually be cool as well. I think I'm gonna use this one during the during this part, which is actually gonna lead into the build-up. So I'm gonna duplicate this one again. By the way, guys, you can see my computer is really slow right now. I just really need a new computer. So if you guys want to help me out, I started a I created a specific page on my PayPal. I saw that you can now actually create a donation page on PayPal. So what I did is I created a donation page. You can help me out if you want to support this channel and want to support what I do. You can help me out by donating a little bit of money to my PayPal, and that'll all be collected, and all that money together will be put into a new computer. I'm also going to be moving soon. I'm going to be changing studios, so there's a lot going to happen in the coming months, and every single little bit helps to keep me going. So if you want to help me out, check the description below this video, because there's a little bit of a well, there's a link in there, pretty much linking to the donation page on PayPal, where you can actually help me out. So if you want to do that, that's appreciated a lot. Now, as soon as I have a new PC, I'll be able to really start making insane Neurofunk tracks, because I'm really held back by my computer right now. That's pretty much what's going on. You can see how slow some of the things are going. I really just need a better machine to work on. So let's see, because this one now actually, it sounds pretty good, but I want to change and see if I have something better, because this section needs something that's not as heavy, and has not as in your face as the rise that we just created. I need something a bit lighter. I might even just go back to the first one because that one sounded pretty good. Guitar feedback, I think this one is actually pretty heavy as well. Yeah, that's way too heavy. Next one. I might do that one, but I'll change the first part a bit. So I'm going to check if this sounds good. Let's freeze this one as well. We've got quite a bit of stuff going now. I think we have enough to do this section of the track. Let's flatten that. Let me fill up my vape real quick because it's almost empty. There we go. So, I like this sound, but I want to make it a bit less heavy. So, that first part needs to be less loud. I think this one is good. I like that. But this one just needs to be a bit quieter. So we get... So we get that. I'm also gonna make this shorter, fade it in. Let's take this one out so that we just... I think that's actually a good one for right in front of the drop as well. I think I'll just do this. Okay, I think that's gonna be used there as well. Now, we need to transition into here. And I'm going to copy this particular part. And I'm gonna take this down. And I can extend this one. God damn it, just extend. And probably bring this up again. We need some kind of a percussive sound to come in there. Let's see if I can make something like that real quick. I'll show you a little bit of a trick how you can easily create a build-up really quickly. Let's drop this down to C1. C1. And now I'm gonna have to take a snare drum sample. Something like that. Just a really basic snare. And I can put an arpeggiator in front of it, and that's a little trick. You can see now you can just really quickly create something like that. So that's all I need. Just freeze that. And flatten it. So now we have a little snare drum roll kind of thing, and now I just fade that in. Like that. And now we can do a little bit of filtering on this. Just bring that up. also gonna put a utility on it because I really want to bring down the volume of this as well. So it's gonna be like that. That's good. Snare roll. Okay, that's definitely sounding better. I need an impact again right here, so I guess that one. I'm not too sure about that one. Might need a different one here. But now we're gonna have to start the build up, so I don't think I want the build up to be longer than this. I just what is that? 8 beats or 16? 16 beats, I think that's enough. 16 bars. Yeah, 16 bars. That should be enough. I think I want to introduce the bass right now, and I want to introduce some high-speed percussion kind of thing that really builds up towards a drop. But how long are we? We're already more than an hour. I'm gonna stop today's video, or I'm gonna stop this video right now, and I'm probably gonna take a little break, and then I'm gonna come back, and I'm gonna work another, well, I think another hour, and if that's done, I think that's gonna be a good moment to see what we need to do with the drop itself. I think the drop is actually gonna fall together pretty good with the way it is right now. I just need to get this transition right. The intro is sounding a bit better. It's sounding more defined. It's sounding more interesting now with the impacts. I definitely need a little bit more here, but that's pretty much all I'll have to do for the intro right now. That's it. I hope you like this. If you want to see more of these production videos, let me know in the comments below. Also, I'm really looking into what I can do in terms of Neurofunk production tutorials. There's not really that many tutorials out there that aim at Neurofunk. There are quite a bunch right now, but most of them are just aimed at how to make a neuro bass, how to make a drum and bass, and that's fine. But I want to get a little bit deeper into things with you guys, so I want to ask you now. I want to know from you what you want me to talk about when it comes to Neurofunk production. So I really want to, my channel is going a lot more towards the Neurofunk side already, and it's the kind of genre I like making the most myself, so I really want to do a lot more Neurofunk stuff. But I want to know from you guys, what do you think I should do when it comes to Neurofunk tutorials? So let me know in the comments below. These could be sound recreations, these could be stuff regarding mixing, stuff regarding sound design or arrangement. Just let me know what you want to learn. So that's it for this video. If you want to donate a little bit of money to help me out, go to the description below this video, check out the PayPal link that I included, and that's gonna be it for this video, and I'll see you back in the next one. Peace!